From the very beginning, we wanted to create a huge cinematic experience. Part of that was to create amazing sound effects and Foley.
I think sound effects are often the most overlooked area of game audio. They give the player the most information and the most connection with what the character's doing. We hired a Foley artist and we used him to generate all kinds of different sound effects and sound materials.
There's a little bit of everything here, meaning junkyardish. Every element you could possibly think of is here. Me and Marco have gone for runs out to flea markets and big garbage dumps, and we look for things that would work for the video game. The best person to be attached to this project would be Marco. He's worked on hundreds and hundreds of films.
This is just a small portion of the props that we have. We've got metal buckets, we've got shackles, water effects, any kind of clothing that might need rustles or different kinds of jackets, different types of metal, gates, any kind of a sound we have. With a movie, you're starting with a little bit of something and then you either add to it or you sweeten something or you replace it. With a video game, you need to do everything. If you don't make it, you don't have it.
We get movies from Tom, and we'll put it up on the screen in the Foley room, and we'll play it back a few times and see the motions that she's doing. A lot of the times they're not rendered completely, so we're dealing with some raw footage. And so I'll ask Tom, is she on stone, is she on dirt? We look at what is occurring in that actual movie, and we act out those sounds in front of a microphone. Nice. There'll be a list of things that we need to do. So if we have to run to a junkyard to find some big pieces of wood to throw around, or we have to run to a supermarket and buy some celery for bone breaks.
I think watermelons are pretty overrated. A lot of people think they give you all this wonderful sound, but you hit a watermelon with a mallet and you get a half-a-second sound that doesn't have any kind of an implosion sound. Or we want something that sort of tears at the fiber of the item and just sort of rips it apart.
Some of the more challenging things, I think, is some of the sword elements.
The sword's not just a weapon, it's kind of a character in its own right. It's the thing that we want to use to make the player feel the most powerful.
We brought swords to Heavenly Sword that we got from Crouching Tiger. In Crouching Tiger, we actually did a pass at the beginning where we used crowbars and bats and all these different things, and Ang Lee came in and goes, you know what, we need swords.
A challenging part of the game is the variation. Tom will ask for 2 or 3 different sword sounds. So if she's unsheathing her sword, there's going to be 20 or 30 of those sounds, so that you don't hear the same sound 30 times in a row. There's a chain sequence that happens with her sword when she uses it throughout the game. It's unique to Heavenly Sword. We went out and bought as many chains as we could, pulling back the chains, throwing them around, jumping up and down. I think we even threw on a tape measure for the extension sounds that we had. PlayStation 3 is a surround sound environment. Most films don't even go that far. It just adds to the fantasy playing the game.
Your senses are being pulled one way and another. We're trying to make it as an intense an experience as possible without making the player feel, whoa, that's not real.
The more challenging the sounds are, the happier we are. And if we can convey that in the game and everybody's happy, then we did our job. And it makes it that much more exciting and happier.